How did that happen?
It's not so much a notification as much as you just check every day to see if Jennifer Aniston's following you yet. And one day it all pays off. And you guys, I mean, if you guys stick with it, you know, just do your best, trust the process. You'll get a Jennifer Aniston too.
Fredette for the lead. Yes! Fredette with the three. Bullseye! What a shot by Fredette!
Crunch time. The boy gave us more trays than
He's got his J back, folks, and the eye of the tiger.
This is From the Logo with Jimmer Fredette, presented by Primo Golf, clothing for the athletic golfer.
Game on once again. I am Spencer Linton. He is Jimmer Fredette, and this is From the Logo, presented by Primo Golf. Great to have you with us once again for our deep range conversations about life inside and well beyond the world of sports. Jimmer, how was life now that you had your Christmas tree back up and ready to rock with the holiday season going, my friend?
Oh, yeah. Like, let me tell you something. So we had the Christmas tree up for probably a week now, but we didn't have all of the bulbs on it, right? We didn't have the ornaments on it because we like to do that as a family. We couldn't find a night with all the kids' activities to do it as a family. So don't worry. We got our Christmas tree up real early, right after Halloween, just as we talked about. We just didn't post about it until this week. Okay. So I just wanted to make that clear because we are all ready for Christmas. We go to get our special ornaments tonight, a place called St. Nick's out here in Denver, that we get to go out and just be able to get each kid an individual, ornament for the night or for this year. And we're pumped about it. The kids love it. Great tradition. And we'll see what they get. You know, I mean, Taft's into Sonic, so it's probably something around that. My little one is into, a lot of Disney princesses. So it's probably something like that. My oldest daughter, who knows? Probably a dog. She loves dogs just like my wife. So we'll see, but it's been we're ready for Christmas.
Do you own a favorite ornament on the tree? That might be an impossible question.
Ah, man, that is a great question. There are some good ones. We could obviously, of course, have some sort of basketball. That's always a classic. I do have we have an ornament that is a golden retriever after our dog George, who passed about a year ago. So that's probably the most sentimental, not to cry on the podcast, but that's probably my favorite.
Oh, I love that. And we love Snacks too.
Can't forget about Snacks.
Golden retriever. Now he's so cute.
Oh, he's the best. Snacks is the best. He's naughty, but he's the best.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Once again, our purpose in this podcast is to uplift, educate, and entertain with an array of topics from current events, Jimmer's life, which has taken him across the globe, my life, and of course, our featured guest slides. Bottom line, we hope you all feel better after hanging out with us. And last week's guest, Jimmer, Lindsay Arnold, had an unbelievably uplifting story. So fun to find out her backstory. And among other things, that her mom was the one to push her initially to go and try out for So You Think You Can Dance, mandated it. And then now Lindsay says, yeah, mom knows best. She's the reason that all of this really began.
Yep. The moms know the best. We all know that. And it was a great story. She was a delight to talk to. She's so upbeat. She's so positive. She's obviously an incredible dancer. Now she's, a mom and doing her own businesses and still super busy and doing her thing. And it's just it was a great episode. A lot of fun to talk to her. And I didn't know a lot of that backstory. So it was good to get to know her. And obviously, I don't think people realize how difficult it is to dance professionally like that, like on your body, on your mind, being able to get the big break, all of these different things. It's so difficult to do. It's very competitive. It's hard on your body. And she's been through it all. So definitely check out the episode. She was great.
Not surprisingly, her clips on social media absolutely went to another stratosphere because we're in the midst of Dancing with the Stars chaos, and the finals are essentially a week away, and she made her pick on who she thinks is going to win it. So fun to watch all of that come together and watch those clips on our pod with her. She was so gracious with her time, catch fire in the world of dance. And it is a unique world, Jimmer.
Yep. It's a unique world, and the social's been great. Go check it out at JimmerFTL. We got some great little clips up there, and she's obviously got a crazy good following. So we knew the socials would do well, and it's been fun to see the pod and the socials and just everybody grab on and be able to enjoy our content of our podcast. That's what it's all about. We're having fun. We're enjoying it. We're uplifting. We're talking to cool people. I mean, it's been a blast.
Here is our starting lineup today. Speaking of cool people, we're stepping into another unique genre, and that of stand-up comedy and social media comedy. He is the host of the I Hope This Helps podcast and has gone viral into the Hollywood A-list celebrity scene of sorts. Jimmer, he's got some big-time followers. Dustin Anderson is our guest today. It's unbelievable to me how witty he is and how quickly he can articulate these things. It's going to be a million laughs on today's podcast for a guy who I believe is on the precipice of becoming a worldwide comedy star. Like, we talk about Nate Bargatze and how that dude is like who everybody wants to be. This guy's on a similar trajectory when we're talking about Dustin Anderson.
Yeah, he is. He doesn't think he is, and I think that's part of the good part about it. He's a humble guy. He's like, I don't think he knows how he got here, and but he's crushing it on social media. He's just super funny. He's dry. He's very good. He's relatable. He talks about things that are just everyone can relate to, and it's super funny. I'm sure a lot of our audience have heard of him. He's, like I said, he's got over 500,000 followers on Instagram, and just in doing some great content. It's all clean. He loves Nate as well. It's one of his people he looks at and gets inspiration from for his comedy. So I mean, he's funny. I can't wait to talk to him because he is someone that I like to laugh. I'm a big laugher, and he's gonna make me laugh. You don't make me laugh, Spence. He will, and I'm excited about it.
That's a lie, Jimmer. That's a downright lie. I know if it. You sound like my wife.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah, you don't make me laugh.
Nope.
Okay. You
Absolutely
make other
not.
people. You don't make me laugh. Whatever. Okay.
Can't do it.
There's proof on this podcast, Jimmer. We continue on with our starting lineup. We mentioned the guest Dustin Anderson. We've got a loaded Early Trey, which not surprisingly has some comedic elements in it, and a list of top sports comedies. We'll hit that in just a moment. Our open gym has some great questions submitted by you. We've got some backstories to share. Let's just get right to it, shall we? Oh, and while we're on the topic of sports and the fall and jerseys, let's discuss some of the greatest jerseys ever, because one of my favorite aspects, or I guess accents, of your home, Jimmer, when I visited and saw your home for the first time, was the wall of jerseys that you have put together. I think it's one of the coolest things ever.
It's great. Again, Whitney did work her magic and was like, hey, we're going to put a jersey wall up, and I have 10 jerseys up. It's crazy. There's a lot of jerseys that have gone up from my time in the NBA, BYU, over in Shanghai, my Olympic jersey, USA jersey, in Greece, Panathinaikos. So, I mean, have a lot of array to choose from, which is great. And I love jerseys. I absolutely love jerseys. I used to love jerseys when I was a kid. Always wanted to get the nicest ones. Couldn't always do it, but I wanted it. And so I'm a big jersey guy. So I'm excited to talk about, my top 3 college jerseys that I think are the best looking. Okay, so we'll get into that.
Starting lineup in place. Let's get to the Early Trey. If you're new to the program, this centers on current events, social media trends, prominent memories, or frankly, things that we just feel like talking about. So we're going to do it. The Early Trey, 3 top of mind subjects to set the pace for our conversation today. You know what happens now. It's time to ask Jimmer, are you ready to shoot?
I am ready to shoot. Let's do it.
Number 1, top sports comedies. We are combining our world of sports with an element of our guest today, yes, comedy, and that created an interesting debate before this podcast of what goes into, I don't know, let's say your top 3. This feels like another impossible list. I don't know that I like doing this. It's agonizing to a degree to try and figure out I can only pick 3, but I've got 33. So, Jimmer, which 3 sports comedies make your prestigious top 3 list?
Okay. We'll go from 3 to 1. Okay. There's incredible list. Well, maybe we'll hit some honorable mentions a little bit later, but I'm going to go 3 to 1. Okay. Number 3, I'm coming in with, hopefully you think it's a sport. It's on the Ocho, ESPN. Dodgeball. Number 3, Ben Stiller, Vince Vaughn, 2 of my favorite funny comedians and actors of all time. And if you consider it a sport, I'm considering it a sport. It is a classic movie, so funny. And I just laugh thinking about it. You're over there dying in the background just because you're thinking about it. It is
It's quotable.
It is so quotable, incredible movie. That is my number 3. Number 2, we're going Shake and Bake, baby. Shake and Bake, Talladega Nights, Ricky Bobby. If you ain't first, you're last. Incredible, quotable movie. I don't even like racing all that much. Like, I'm not a speed demon. I drive the speed limit basically, or 5 over most of the time while I'm riding in my car in my normal life. So for me to like a racing movie, it has to be incredible, and this is incredible. Okay. Yeah, and
I do not drive 5
so
miles
funny.
an hour over the speed limit. Just putting that out there.
Either does Whitney. Either does my wife Whitney. I'll tell you that much. She gets
I don't
upset.
know what to do with my hands.
Yeah, she gets upset
Sure.
with me. Exactly. That is number 2, absolute all-time classic. Number 1, it's close to my favorite movie of all time. Not even just my favorite sports comedy, but one of my favorite movies in general.
Wow.
Happy Gilmore.
Okay.
Adam Sandler at his finest. Just unbelievable. The whole movie is hilarious. The way that he just presents himself, it's just a comedic classic.
Iconic characters.
Iconic characters. Shooter McGavin. Just, I mean, come on. You cannot get better as a sports comedy than Happy Gilmore. I just absolutely love it. I mean, I could talk about it all day, but those are my top 3. It was really hard, but those are my top 3.
Wow. Yeah, those are tough to beat.
What do you got,
and
Spence?
going back to the quotables, I mean, the quotables from your number 3 of Dodgeball, like at least once every couple of weeks, I will hear the following. Glovo Jim, we're better than you, and we know it. Okay? So, I love Ben Stiller. And then also from Ben Stiller, nobody makes me bleed my own blood.
Yes.
Amazing.
An absolute.
Amazing quotable movie right there.
Just so funny. It was pretty good. That was a pretty good Dodgeball impression, too. That was pretty good Stiller. Good work on that.
My top 3, it's weird because I feel like it truly is splitting hairs.
Yeah.
Like if someone's like, what are you talking about? No, it could be this movie. You're right. It could be. It could be that movie too.
Yep.
I don't have any issues with the 3 movies that you put in your list for all of the reasons that you stated, but probably because at number 3, it ties to my childhood, and it was filmed, relatively speaking, in my backyard in Rose Park, Utah, where my mom grew up and was a student at West High School. And it was filmed in Ogden, which is just around the corner from my home, Clinton, Utah, where I spent many of my childhood years, is The Sandlot. It is so great. I still love that movie.
Yeah.
It's incredibly entertaining. I thought the kid actors were on another level. They're so good.
They were really good.
So good. So I love The Sandlot. I know it's in that genre of 10 to 15-year-olds, but
no, it's for everyone.
So fun to watch that movie with my kids, and
I watch it yearly.
The Sandlot. Yeah, Benny the Jet Rodriguez, your PF Flyers. There are these things that you talk about that like make a movie iconic and so important to you and nostalgic. That one is riddled with nostalgia for me. So at number 3 is The Sandlot. Okay. At number 2, gosh, it's just very difficult for me, Jimmer. Okay. It's just
making you work over here.
Before I get to my number 2, let me just point out that there are some of you who are saying, like, how do you not include legendary films like Caddyshack and Bull Durham?
Yeah.
Trust me, I get it, but I think it deals with when you grew up, don't you think?
Yeah. Well, it does. Like it definitely does. Those, I mean, those are classic movies. It could be in your top 3. It could be anybody's top 3, right? Like Just a
Yes.
Major League, another one, like
Yes.
The Longest Yard, the original, or the new one, doesn't matter.
The Bad News Bears, the original.
There's so many. I just didn't grow up in that era, so it's hard for me to, specifically say that. Like, I'm thinking childhood memories when I watched the new movie that came out that was sports.
Yes.
It was these, right? So shout out to all the older films that were incredible as well. But I understand. I get it.
Okay. Yeah, this is very difficult.
I feel like
for me.
this is
I
the
told
most
you, I was like,
most difficult content we've put out here yet for you.
How do you pick
you're
three?
struggling.
How do you pick three?
You're struggling.
Okay, and this might be a little off the radar for some, but I think Tom Hanks is fantastic in this, Jimmer, A League of Their Own.
Oh, that's great.
It is so good.
Oh, yeah.
His portrayal of and story arc of being just the worst Jimmy Dugan. He's a washed up Major League Baseball player, and he's reluctantly thrust into this managerial role of this women's baseball team, but you fall in love with the characters at the end. There are some things that happen that just I love it. Like that movie is fantastic. So A League of Their Own. Again, I know people are like, what? Telling you, for me, it is so good. And maybe this is a little anticlimactic, but I am with you. At number one for me is Happy Gilmore. And this is how I know it's my number one, Jimmer, because whenever it's on TV, it doesn't matter what point of the movie, if there are commercials on and you're watching it on TBS or TNT or some other random network, Bravo, if the movie is on, I will watch it.
Does not come off.
Turn it to that and watch it.
Yep. It does not come off of the screen, right? Like you see it, you put it on. It doesn't matter where it is.
Yes.
It is on the screen, and I'm getting my kids over, and I'm like, watch this part. Don't care if you don't think it's funny at this point because you're 6 years old, but you're gonna love it at some point. And I'm just getting them, I'm getting them ingrained in it.
Okay, honorable mention for me. It's ridiculous. There are two. And I'm not sure I can even call it a sports comedy because it's not a traditional sport, maybe in the extreme fashion, but Hot Rod.
Oh, wow. Threw that one out there. Yeah. Definitely threw that one out there.
Okay. That's an honorable mention for me, and The Water Boy.
Yes. I had that also as an honorable mention. The Water Boy is great. Love that film. Just absolutely classic. Bobby Boucher. Nothing better than Bobby Boucher. I also have on my honorable mention one that's really, it's just great. The Replacements. If you've seen The Replacements, that one is absolutely fire, dynamic.
Keanu Reeves,
like
Shane Falco,
just absolutely great. Another one that's a little bit fun, a little bit more of a kid friendly one. Kicking and Screaming. I thought that was a very good movie as well.
Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell. So another good one. But there's so many out there. It's hard to say. But yeah, this is a fun discussion. I want to hear everyone's thoughts in the audience. Tell me what your top 3 favorite sports comedies are.
Ooh,
so many out there. I want to hear it.
Please submit. You bring up The Replacements. Keanu Reeves in some way is always kind of the same character to me because he's got like such a recognizable voice. And so, it's just, we've gone too far. We know too much.
He's on it today with his impressions. I love it. We're getting after it.
It's Keanu,
it.
man.
Yeah, he's great. His hair is always flowing. He looks good. He looks the part.
Shane Falco.
Yeah, he's just athletic enough to be able to play quarterback, like just to look like he can play quarterback and run.
Yes.
I mean, he's got it all. I love it.
You ready for another impression? It was my go-to in high school.
All right, let's hear it.
It's from Bobby Boucher.
Oh, there we go.
Mr. Coach Clan,
oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Spence, a man of many talents.
It was great, but it's something that
it was solid. Give it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd also like to point out that you laughed at some point in one of those.
Yeah, I was laughing at you.
Huh?
Laughing at you. Not with you.
Okay.
At you.
You're laughing at me?
Not with you.
Fine. Hey, that is the first topic in the Early Trey. I'm glad that's over. Okay.
Yep, I gotcha.
It's a difficult subject for me. Number 2, let's focus in on some jerseys. We talked about the display you have in your house, Jimmer, which is super cool. In fact, I want you to, at some point, if you haven't already, take a picture of that and post it on social media. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It,
I'll get
it's
it
a
out there.
tribute to you and your career and how versatile and awesome you have been. But for the sake of narrowing this conversation, let's talk college jerseys. You can go any direction you want with this. It could be college football jerseys, college basketball jerseys, but like when it comes to recognizable and beautiful and clean, and you're just like, I love that college jersey. What is making your list as those are fire and better than everything else?
Yeah. I got 3. I'm going just college basketball. So I'm going to narrow it down to just college basketball. That's what I want to talk about right now. And, just because, football's great, but I'm talking basketball today. Number 3. Okay. We are going Big East. Number 3. I love the color combination of this team. Okay. They have been a powerhouse in the Big East. They've won some national championships. Villanova.
Ooh, you like the navy and that
Light
lighter blue.
Yes. That together is a phenomenal combination. And BYU's tried to do that a little bit with the Royal and the Navy, and it's like they've had a little bit of that. I love that color combination. It just says it has Villanova on the front, just a classic clean jersey. When you see it, the color combinations are great. I love it. That's one of my favorite. I'm gonna say that's number 3. Number 2, we're going back to the Big East, and we're going to another powerhouse. They are not a powerhouse anymore, but they were. Georgetown.
Ooh.
I love that classic gray, right? With the oh my, that is a great jersey. I just can see Patrick Ewing in it right now, playing, crushing it. When they were good back when they were playing Syracuse and UConn and all, and they were just crushing. I love that uniform. Always wanted a Patrick Ewing uniform because I was a Knicks fan and he played for the Knicks. I just, that was a big time uniform. That's number 2. Number 1, we all know what number 1 is. And I don't even care if you like the sport or if you don't. I don't care if you like them or if you don't. It is the North Carolina Tar Heels, UNC. That is the best jersey. The powder blue. You kidding me? Like every kid wants that jersey. They had a recruiting advantage just because of the colors of their jerseys. Kids wanted to put that jersey on, so they wanted to go there. And then Jordan went there. And after that, I mean, are you kidding me? They could basically get anybody they wanted to just because of that jersey. It is
Tip
iconic.
Of the cap to Carolina blue.
It is number 1 on my list and should be number 1 on everyone's list.
Is there a more desired college jersey for just a fan of college basketball? Taking Duke out of it, because a Duke fan would never want to buy Carolina blue. But let's separate the Duke fans from this.
Yeah.
But if you were going to buy a legend college jersey, is there anything better than a Michael Jordan Carolina blue jersey?
I don't think so.
What's better than that?
I don't think so. I mean, the jersey is incredible. A lot of people love the Vince Carter jersey too, right? Because Vince was iconic in the dunk contest and just you know what I mean? Like there are so many great jerseys out there that are from North Carolina, but it doesn't matter who's on the back of that jersey. It could be, a Linton jersey. It's just about the color. It's about the color. It is phenomenal how good that color is.
Was that a backhanded compliment?
It was.
Or maybe just not a compliment at all.
Maybe I don't know.
Shot.
Maybe
you could put the last name Linton on the thing and people would
buy it. People would buy it. I don't care. I'm just telling you now.
All right. I know my place. Listen, let's give some credit to your jersey as well. All right. Your jersey is pretty sweet too. A lot of BYU fans, when they want a BYU jersey, and I'm a guy that if I were to buy a jersey of a professional team, my favorite professional team or favorite college team, I'm a guy that wants to typically go into history and buy the legendary jersey of the best player in the franchise. You know why? Because they're never going to be traded. It's never going away. It will last forever. I'm not the guy that's going to buy a jersey of a player who's on the team right now, given our current temperature of professional sports and how quickly they're just gone. And then your jersey is weird and outdated. And then you have to wait 30 years for it to come back. And people are like, oh, cool, retro, man. Like, yeah, I remember when you played there. No, I can't do that. I am by the legendary jersey guy.
Yeah.
Cal Ripken was my hero growing up. So if I ever buy an Orioles jersey, it's going to say
Ripken.
Ripken on the back.
Yeah.
If I buy a BYU basketball jersey, I'm not even kidding you. I'm buying one that says either Ainge or Fredette on the back of it. That's what I'm doing.
Well, yeah, I get it. I understand. It's the classics. It's the legends. You want those jerseys, right? Like, so, I mean, I understand. They're the best of the best. And jerseys are just so fun. They're fun. People love them. They're coming back. They're big into style again right now with the young kids. They're all about it. So I don't think they're ever going out of style, but there's some fun ones out there.
Okay. Just to be a little bit different than you as far as my favorite college jerseys go, I'm going to go football side just to differentiate a little. And I know these things, like, people are going to be like, what are you talking about? Those are so ugly. For me, there are like three standouts. One of them carries incredible bias, not shockingly, based on the team that I have covered for the majority of my professional career. But the classic royal blue jersey on white pants with the white BYU helmet and the stretch Y is such a clean look.
It is.
There's not.
It's about as good as it gets.
I mean,
it really is.
There's a reason BYU keeps showing up on College Football Uniform Tracker's website and social media posts every week as one of the top 5 cleanest jerseys of the week. It happens again and again and again. They're on the list every year. That royal pops so much, but it's the royal top, the white pants, and the white helmet. This is a classic, traditional BYU look. This is what I grew up on. This is Ty Detmer winning the Heisman Trophy and BYU winning the national championship in 1984. Like that look. Okay, so that's my number 3. Number 2, the Penn State Nittany Lions.
Classic.
They are
clean.
playing in front of a whiteout on their home field, and they've just got that clean white helmet with the navy stripe over the middle, your navy jersey and your white pants. Happy Valley in State College, Pennsylvania is magical. I love how clean that uniform is.
That atmosphere is awesome too. That atmosphere,
Yes.
when they have those on, you feel like you're losing as soon as you get into that arena when they have all white and they have that outfit on. You're like, I have no chance tonight. I'm so sorry.
Okay. And then number 1, this is, and I'm not necessarily a fan of this team, but it hit home for me when I watched their remarkable 2004 season in person and got to watch them up close and personal. Reggie Bush, the USC Trojans.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Are you kidding me? Like, you watch USC roll out. Notre Dame deserves some talk in this conversation too. When you watch USC and Notre Dame in their iconic traditional uniforms on the field together, the Bush push in that game in South Bend, that is what college football is all about. So I love the tradition of the USC uniform. Okay, those are my 3. Do you have any problems with that?
No, I don't. I'm not a huge, massive fan of their color combination. I'm not.
It's not a
lie.
great, but it's just,
I don't
to
love
me,
the
it's just
color
like,
combination, but it's classic. It's classic. I get it. It's a great uniform. They have incredible teams. I just wish they had better colors. That was it.
Okay, on to the third item in our early tray. Let's stay with the jersey theme. The top 3 retired jerseys in all of sport. And I want to take the lead on this one, if you don't mind, Jimmer. Okay. And I'm going to start with number 1 because I feel like it has to be at the top of the list, and it carries over an entire sport. But the number 42 of Jackie Robinson belongs at the top of the list.
Yes, it does. 100%. It is iconic. Changed the sport, changed the dynamic of the sport, just an incredible athlete, incredible player, and no one will ever top that. Simple as that.
And the 42 patch that every Major League Baseball team honors and wears, and I think they still do a game every year where the teams all wear number 42 in some capacity. Like there's something like it's the Jackie Robinson game. I love that. I think that is super cool. Number 2 all-time retired jersey, the Chicago Bulls with Michael Jordan.
Of course, right? I mean, it is an iconic stadium, and
The intro music,
some
yes.
of the one of the best jerseys of all time in general, and the greatest basketball player of all time that many would say, and pretty much everyone would say. And that jersey is up in the rafters as it should be, and it is classic.
Let's take a quick break. When we come back, comedian Dustin Anderson gets the full court press. Why you should all be paying attention to the social media way that he is putting out there when From the Logo continues.
Hi, I'm Phil Mickelson, 6-time major champion and captain of the High Flyers, but you already knew that. What you might not know is I'm a huge joggers guy. But it wasn't always like this. Once I gave them a shot though, there was no going back. And it's not just me, the whole team loves them.
Are you sure about this, Phil? I don't know if I'm a joggers guy.
Yes, you are. See, he loves them. And it's not just the joggers. We're obsessed with the buttery soft quarter zips and blade collars so sharp, you might actually hurt yourself. Oh. That's why I'm so thrilled to announce that Primo Golf Apparel will be the official sponsor of the High Flyers in 2025. I did have one small request. How do they look?
Amazing.
Yeah. Did they feel good? Oh my God. Easy. Amazing. Who's got my pants?
From the Logo with Jimmer Fredette continues, presented by Primo Golf. It is time for the full court press with today's VIP guest, and he is a fantastic comedian. He's the real Dustin Anderson. There are others out there, but he's the real Dustin Anderson, and host of the I Hope This Helps podcast, which is gaining massive popularity. He's built a huge following on social media and in the podcasting world with that elite humor. He is a husband and father of 4 daughters. Most importantly, he's a fan of Jimmer. Welcome, Dustin, to From the Logo.
Thank you so much for. I feel like I'm getting a lifetime achievement award. I haven't even done anything yet. I hope my wife's paying attention to that intro. There's a lot of good stuff in there.
We'll send it to her after the show. We'll have to send it to
do.
her and make sure. Yeah, absolutely. That is so great. We appreciate you being on. I mean, you are gaining a lot of massive popularity, as Spence has said. It's been so fun to be able to watch. And you said that, we talked before, you graduated from BYU in 2007. That was my freshman year. So how was your experience at the Y?
It was good. It was probably a little different than yours. A lot of people probably didn't know who I was and would be surprised to find out I was ever there at all. But it was good. I had a great time. I stayed for 7 years. Not many of us do that. Got 1 degree, 7 years. I had a good time, met a lot of pretty girls, married one of them. And I still go back when I can for a cougar tail, a football game, basketball game, whenever they'll have me.
Dustin, where does being on this podcast with the great Jimmer Fredette rank in your life experiences? And more importantly, why does it rank number 1 on that list?
Oh, yeah. There's not even I mean, I have 4 kids, right? So this is the top. It's this and then the 4 kids. Jimmer, my dad and my brothers and I used to go every year to Vegas and watch BYU play in the Mountain West Conference tournament. And we were there when Jimmer dropped 52, of course, on New Mexico. It was absolutely insane. We were there the next game, too, that didn't go quite so. We were there for half of that game, and then we had some stuff to do. We had to get back home. But, it's a huge fan of Jimmer and everything BYU. I was thinking about, so as a BYU fan, we get used to heartbreak, right? Every year there's the season goes a certain way. Everything's great. We're ranked whatever. And then something terrible happens. There are 2 people that stand out in my memory, Jimmer Fredette and Ty Detmer, where no matter what the ranking was or the game, I had this overwhelming sense of confidence. Things were going to work out. And with Ty Detmer, it was probably because I was 9 years old, but with Jimmer, it was legit. It was, it's awesome to be here.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. That is awesome right there. I mean, that Thomas and Mack Center, I mean, we had been to that arena so many times, over the last, over the 4 years I was there, right? Because you played UNLV once a year. You always had the conference tournament there. We always had some type of random tournament in the middle of the season that would be there. And, I'm not going to lie, I don't love Vegas. Like, I'm not a big Vegas guy. And we could never beat UNLV on their floor. Like, my first 3 years there, we could not beat them, whether it was at the tournament. And then my senior year, we ended up beating them at UNLV. And I went berserk. I'm not going to lie. I was yelling at the fans. I was going nuts. I was having a great time because I did not like the Thomas and Mack Center. But that was one of my fondest memories. And that 52-point game was obviously not against UNLV, against New Mexico, but a great memory. So I know I could feel it. You were pushing me over the edge that night to get to where I needed to be. I could tell that you and your family was there. So that's a huge deal for me. Great work.
It just means so much to hear. As a fan, you show up and you try to make a difference. And usually we don't get acknowledged in that way. And it's a little late, honestly. What are we, like 14 years removed? But
we're a little bit
better
removed,
late than never. They should rename the stadium, the center now, to the Jimmer and Dustin. I feel like we did it together.
We did it together. 100%. Yeah. Absolutely. I love it.
All right, Dustin, aside from watching Jimmer play and Ty Detmer doing his thing when BYU was making their run in the late 80s and early 90s, and he won the Heisman Trophy, what are your other favorite sports teams to watch? Are you a pro guy, or is it strictly just collegiate athletics?
On the pro level, I like certain players. I mean, BYU is my team through and through. I spent some time. I lived in New Orleans when they won the Super Bowl. So I became a huge Saints fan for about 3 weeks. And so that was a good time. Big fan of Taysom Hill. All the BYU guys that roll through and go to the pros, I like to follow them. But I'm a Jazz fan, but other than that, not a lot of pro teams.
Well, I guess there's still New Orleans ties to the Jazz, right? So there may be something there. Once upon a time, it was the New Orleans Jazz. Okay, so I like that tie-in. But as a follow-up, you joke about, the ups and downs of being a fan of BYU athletics. And I'm sure every fan of every team at some point feels like, gosh, is this really worth it? So Dustin, why is it worth the lows when you get those occasional magical highs?
I'm trying to answer this question for my daughters right now because it's important to me that they care about BYU as much as I did and do. So like I took them this year to the BYU Portland State football game because I thought, we've got a young quarterback, might be a rebuilding year. I bet we could probably get a win off Portland State. I want them to have a good time. But we've had, there was a run there for a long time where couldn't get past Utah. That was tough. It's, a roller coaster is like peaks and valleys, but the more valleys you have when you finally get over the peak, I don't know if it's all worth it or not, but it feels a lot better to be up when you've been down.
No, it absolutely does. And I know that, from a player standpoint, it's the same thing, right? That Utah, us not being able to beat Utah for that long, right? That was really, really hard as a BYU fan. That was probably some of the most difficult times as a BYU fan. Cause when you live in Utah, I live in Colorado, so I'm not there anymore. But when you do live in Utah and you go to work, or you go, to class, or you go somewhere, there's always a Utah fan there, right? So because that, they don't even have to say anything. They just look at you, maybe give you a little smile, and something and they know, hey, we got you. We're on top right now, and there's nothing you can do about it.
There are a lot of Utah fans listening right now, just finding out for the first time that they don't have to say anything. Because I've never met a Utah fan who, after one of those games, didn't say something. And as many somethings as they could think of. I don't think I even have a problem with the University of Utah. My wife went to the University of Utah. If she was a football fan, this whole thing wouldn't have worked out. But I think the university might be fine. It might just be certain of the fans that I've had a struggle with.
This is a real and appreciated approach. No doubt about it, Dustin. But, obviously, Jimmer and I care deeply, like you do, about what sports mean in our lives. But one of the more interesting and enlightening aspects of this podcast that we have recognized as we've stepped outside of the world of sports to a degree is how similar we all are in everyone needs a network and a break and goes through adversity and has hard times. So, I mean, you as a comedian right now, absolutely crushing it and have a very devoted following as you should. But where do you feel like your big break happened? And when did that happen?
Whew, that's a great. I don't know if it's happened. Yeah, I mean, I guess if it all ends today, then the big break is behind me. But hopefully, there's something coming up ahead. It's probably so. 4 years ago, my wife taught me how to make an Instagram story because she wanted me to promote some kind of like a 5K she was putting on, and she thought she was doing the world a favor by helping me figure out technology. But almost immediately, I turned humanity against itself with these dumb little humor videos that if I go back and watch those, they're absolutely abysmal. I mean, it's secondhand embarrassment for myself. But then from there, I just like, you're going to look dumb, but try to get a little better at it all the time. And I don't know if there's like a thing that happened. You know what? I'm going to take all that back. Everything I just said, totally meaningless. Jennifer Aniston followed me on Instagram. That's my big break. And I wasn't allowed to watch Friends growing up because I think it had potty words in it. I don't know. I still haven't seen it. But she was a really big, now she's a very important part of my life. That's my big break.
That is a massive break right there. Man, how did you see that? Like, do you get notifications every time it pops up that someone follows you, or how did that happen?
It's
That is
not
incredible.
so much a notification as much as you just check every day to see if Jennifer Aniston's following you yet. And one day it all pays off. And you guys, I mean, if you guys stick with it, just do your best, trust the process. You'll get a Jennifer Aniston too.
Listen,
We believe.
If she is a fan of yours, that means she is watching this podcast, and that means she is going to become a fan of From the Logo. So 100%, I'm looking every day from now on to see if Jennifer Aniston is going to be following myself and Spencer. It's your big break, 100%. I love that.
Everything that I've done comedically has been completely by accident. At one point, I don't remember when the first time was that I said, I hope this helps at the end of a video on Instagram, but it was something totally stupid that obviously didn't help. And then I just kind of as a filler, I hope that helped. And then I did it a couple more times. And then pretty soon people would get upset if I didn't do it. And that I accidentally kind of stumbled onto this thing. It's like, okay, you can be talking about the stupidest thing ever. And then I would have people message me later and be like, hey, I actually really needed to laugh today. And what you said was stupid, but it really did help me kind of get through something. And I thought more about that. And I'm a huge fan of podcasts. So kind of as a love letter to all other podcasts, I started my own, and it was pretty easy to figure out what to call it. Cause it's the actual mission. It's not a typical self-help. It's not a Stephen R. Covey kind of a situation, but I do hope that something helpful comes from it.
Well, you're helping our podcast, that's for sure. And we've already had our Jennifer Aniston box checked in this conversation, so we're good there. But we look at all of the different comedians that are finding success. Nate Bargatze, and obviously Jerry Seinfeld is one of the GOATs. Who are the guys, or even just the people in general? So some extremely talented women in the field as well. Who are the comedians that you have watched closely and that have influenced you in a significant way?
Anybody who says something they're not supposed to say, and it can be comedically, it can be at 7-Eleven, anybody who has the courage to stand up and say something where there's going to be blowback, because comedically you can't. I mean, I love Nate Bargatze. My wife and I have been to see him 3 times. I love that he's clean. He's pushing. There's this momentum towards clean comedy in the country, and he's behind it. And I have a tremendous amount of respect for him. By the way, his dad is funnier than he is. If you ever go get to see him live, his dad's a magician and opens for him sometimes. Fantastic. But like my dad is probably the funniest person I've ever met. He passed away 10 years ago. He came from a long line of funny. In fact, So going to visit my dad's parents and his siblings it was like going to a fist fight, but verbally and comedically. It was kind of like, it made me think, because Jimmer, I heard somewhere that didn't you have a brother that worked in the jail or something, and you'd go play against inmates to get tough?
We
real?
definitely went and played. We definitely played in the prisons. He didn't work in the prison, but we knew people that ran the rec portion of the prison, and we went and we played against the inmates several times at different local prisons. Yes, absolutely.
You broke into prison to play basketball.
That's exactly what you heard. Yeah, so it's exactly what I broke in on purpose and just snuck right through with my basketball, and my flip-flops, because that's what you do as a basketball player. You're running through, and I got there and I was like, "Hey, do you guys want to come play?" And that's how it worked.
And so a lot of the toughness you got came from that kind of rough and tumble basketball education. It's the same as with my dad and my aunts and uncles. It was the same kind of, like, if you could sneak a joke in and get my Aunt Darcy to laugh, holy cow, you'd be riding that high for a month.
It is interesting. I went and saw Nate Bargatze not long ago. It was phenomenal. His father didn't actually open for him, which I'm now disappointed about. I didn't know that, so I have to go again to see if I can see his dad. But he is incredible, and like you said, it is clean. And for you, how much more difficult is that as a comedian to be able to think of material where it's not crass, or you're not using bad language, because obviously you got a lot to pull from, but I know there's a lot of comedians out there that use that as kind of like a crutch. So how difficult has that been for you to find that material and just make sure you're keeping it clean and keeping it kind of like in a PG sense?
I think it would be really difficult if my personality were anything other than that. I mean, when I do clean comedy, it's just authentic to how I grew up. And when I first started doing comedy, I mean, I guess there was a little bit of like, I wish I could say certain things, but my mom would probably get real upset about it, and I don't want somebody to tell my mom on me and then I get in trouble because I did comedy the wrong way. But it just kind of felt natural. But I did a show a few weeks ago that a lady brought her 14-year-old son, and I met him before the show, and she said, he's really funny. She's talking about her son. He's really funny, and he's trying to decide if he wants to do clean comedy or if he wants to go the other way with it. What advice do you have? And I said, if you're clean, everybody can see you. Nobody will stay away. But if you're not clean, like, rated R movies don't sell as much as PG movies. So if you want to make everybody laugh, be clean.
Dustin Anderson, fantastic comedian, is with us on From the Logo. I listened to probably 7 or 8 of your podcasts yesterday, Dustin, just to get adequately
how are you
prepared
doing
for this
today?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. I feel prepared. This is often what I have to do as a sportscaster, right? I feel like I'm cramming for a final before every game that I call. And if you want to know something about Omaha women's basketball at this current moment, I call a game between Omaha and BYU tomorrow. So I can tell you anything you want to know. Conversation for another point or another time, perhaps. But I will add this. One of the things that I immediately grasped onto was your reference to, as kids of the 90s, the things that we said to each other would never, ever fly today. It just wouldn't happen. Like, we got away with things that are crazy. But I look back on that time and I appreciate it so much. Like, I loved my childhood. We're kind of in that weird Zennial category where we're at the end of Gen X and we're not quite millennials. But what made you feel like that was something that you wanted to address specifically because we live in such a highly sensitive society, but there is so much nostalgia. And I look back on so fondly on the 90s. Why'd you feel like you wanted to broach that topic specifically?
First, I think I would be, just as a legal disclaimer, we at the I Hope This Helps podcast do not recommend binging the way that you did. I don't think it's healthy. It's not FDA approved. It's probably not safe physically or spiritually.
He was sending us clips over and over and over again of like, hey, you need to watch this. You need to watch this. He was all in on it. I'm telling you.
I appreciate that. Now I know where my views came from. That's good. I think it's worth talking about because it's different now. And I'm raising my kids different than probably a lot of people because we say a lot of stuff within the walls of our own home that you're not really supposed to say. And we don't mean any of it. And that was a big part of growing up in the 90s. Like I wore a yellow shirt to school once in elementary school. It was just a yellow shirt. And I got called by my best friends in the world. I got called things that would put us all on the news today. That like the people that you loved were the people who let you have it relentlessly. And there was something beautiful about that. Cause then later you grow up, you go get a job and your manager says something mean to you, or somebody at the grocery store gets upset when you're like, you can't hurt me. You have no idea what my mom said to me, you know? And I think that's missing a little bit. And I hope that my kids are going to be superheroes in a world full of softies because words are not going to be damaging to them.
Yeah, that makes so much sense, and I mean, I agree. I agree with you on that. Yeah, there was some definitely harsh things that were said out there back in the day, but it was all in good fun, and it was something that you get with a group of friends, you kind of can say whatever you want, knowing that you're coming from a place of love. But it also, it still could hurt a little bit sometimes, and you just built character, right? So no, I love that in being a '90s, well, a very slight '80s baby, but growing up in the '90s. So. What does your typical work week look like these days? What does that look like for you?
Well, I still do have a 9 to 5, so I'm doing that during the day, and then I use social media more as just a way to write. Just kind of keeps my brain thinking about stupid stuff, funny stuff, and try to use it as a writing exercise. And then I'm adding to the stand up that I get to do with more longer form shows, and then every Thursday, I put out a 30-minute podcast that usually is just stream of consciousness, like whatever dumb thing rolled into my brain that day. There's a book club segment. There's a part I do with my wife where we're reading emails from people. And then when I've got free time, I design a t-shirt here and there and try to sell those on the side. So a lot of different stuff going on.
Dustin, as you look back on this evolution into your comedic avenue, what do you feel like the most difficult or hardest lesson you've learned is about breaking in and doing what you ultimately love to do?
Probably like a lot of things, it's patience. It's patience with the process, patience with people who don't see your vision, patience with yourself there's very little that I've experienced that's worse than standing on a stage, saying something into a microphone that you thought was hysterical in the car on the way there, and it's all silence. And now you got 10 more minutes before that's rough. And you got to give yourself a little bit of grace. And then the patience, I think, also comes with resilience, because with people, like if people tell you, whatever, this and that, and on social media, they'll tell you all kinds of negative stuff. And you got to be able to brush that off and just keep doing what you're doing.
Being a father and being on social media as much as you are, right? How do you balance that with your kids, with your wife? Because I'm sure there is a lot of negativity out there, as for, when you're getting it in the comments. I'm not sure if your kids are seeing that or if not yet, but at some point they probably will. So how are you broaching that with them? Because that's real life situations now, right? Everyone's online. Kids are on social media. You're making a great following on social media. You're seeing both ends of it. How are you teaching that to them?
It's not much of an issue yet because none of my kids are on social media yet, but the oldest is getting to that point. And they've got friends and teachers and stuff who, people will show them videos and stuff. And fortunately, there's not as much negativity as there used to be. So it gets to be more of a fun thing for now. But I've been clear with them from the beginning. Instagram is not real. TikTok is not real. Like you carry this thing in your pocket that's basically a glass screen on a bunch of plastic, that everything inside of that is not real. What's real is outside. And we'll find out in the future. I mean, maybe all the therapy that I'm going to have to pay for is going to prove that, none of this worked. But, in one sense, it's like, listen, I told them I did my part. I can't spoon feed them. So we'll see.
I'm going to pull back the curtain a little bit on this next question, because whenever I go out and about and I'm meeting fans of, the sportscasts on BYU TV or at KSL or something else that I have done, like I'll hear people say, "Oh man, you and your cohorts are so funny. Like we just laugh so much." And then I think about my wife, Brittany, whom I love dearly. She's incredible. But I don't think she thinks I'm funny, Dustin. Like she hears that and she's like, "Wait, what?" Like so
You're not, Spence. You're not.
You're probably
sorry.
right, Jimmer. You're probably right, bro. Like, and this is just a reality I have to deal with, but whatever. Okay, so whenever I hear that, I bookmark it and I'm like, I wish Brittany were here to listen to this so that I can feel validated in this arena. That said, do you still make your wife laugh along with everybody else that you encounter as a comedian?
I don't know if wives are allowed to laugh at their husbands like in a meaningful way. I think it has to be
Right.
because it's like we're coming up on 22 years, my wife and I. She's been listening to this record the whole time. She would love to hear something else. Right. So I caught her earlier today listening to another comedian and I treated her like she was cheating on me. Like, what are you doing? You've got this, brilliant comedic mind under your own roof. What are you going out there? And, but no, she's a good sport. She laughs a lot. I joke a ton about her publicly and she's in on all those jokes to her credit, but she's heard a lot of that stuff before, but, finding ways to make your wife laugh because she's going to be your harshest critic. That'll make you funnier than probably any audience or comedy club that you could go to.
My wife literally keeps track of the amount of times that she has laughed, like belly laughed when I am, have done something. And, she's like, "You're not funny." She has like maybe 5 or 6 things on the list my whole life. Right. And that's it. And I'm like, I'm always sitting there and I'm like, making her laugh or something like that. I'm like, that's got to go on the list. And she's like, nope, that's absolutely not on the list. So we got to run a list going. So I understand how that is. They are absolutely the harshest critic in the best way for us to make sure that we're on the straight and narrow and also making sure that we're putting out the good content. I do have a quick question though. So, a little bit ago, you mentioned being on stage and having a joke you think is super funny and having it not land. What does that feel like, right? Because for me as an athlete, I would, when you airball a shot, obviously everyone in the stands, they're yelling at you, they're screaming airball, they're doing all this stuff. I'm assuming that it's not the same. Obviously, it's a different feel because they're yelling at you instead of like being dead silent. That would be really weird if you airballed it and all of a sudden they're just, I'm not going to yell, it's just going to go dead silent. I'm curious of what that feels like for you when you're on stand and then how do you combat that once that happens?
First of all, I'm not convinced you know what the airball thing feels like either. I've seen you play. Like, when did you miss all of it? I know you've hit the rim a few times. I've never seen it, but I've heard about it. And that probably feels pretty rough for you. It's like, what's it that like it banked? I didn't know it could do that.
What is this?
No, but
100%. I agree with you on that. I just heard.
Yeah, I know. So this is why I think it's worse, because when you tell a joke and it falls flat, they're all rooting for you now to have a comeback. So it's a whole room full of people that aren't booing you, they pity you. It's like now it's a scene from Les Miserables, and it's the most humiliating, demoralizing feeling ever. And people have asked me, "How do you deal with a heckler?" I've never had a heckler. I don't know. Nobody's given me that compliment of trying to talk when I'm talking. It's more just looking at me with sad eyes like, "Are you okay? Do you want some soup? Do you need me to call somebody for you?" It's terrible.
Oh, fantastic stuff. Dustin, what is next for you in your plan and your vision to continue to grow as a comedian and continue this social media revolution that you are experiencing right now?
I have no idea. I don't know how I got here, to be honest with you. This is probably the pinnacle when you get to be on this like this. Everything was leading to this point. I hope that
this is the big break.
This is the big break. From here, I mean, Jennifer Aniston, I think, is a lateral move. If I could get her maybe on to my podcast, I definitely want to do more shows, travel around a little more, and do some more shows. And I would love to grow the podcast. I'm a huge fan of podcasts in general. I listen to them all the time at the gym where I'm running or whatever. So I'd love to grow my podcast and get better at that and just get funnier.
Was Jennifer Aniston your teenage crush? If not, who was it, Dustin?
When I was at BYU, I took a songwriting class. I was lost for a little while. I just didn't know who I was going to become. And I wrote, as part of that, as my final for that class, I wrote a love song to Kelly Kapowski, Tiffany Amber Thiessen from Saved by the
I
Bell.
love it.
I still
100%.
sing that song to myself probably once a week. So yeah, it was her. If she ever follows me on Instagram, you will never see me again. I've arrived. I'm just walking off into the sunset. Yeah. I'll probably release the song on Spotify at some point.
Please do. I was going to say, please, Dustin, give us a way to enjoy that bit of your collegiate awesomeness.
So, Dustin, what is it with the shirts? Right? Like, I want to know how that came about and what is it with the shirts?
Well, it's called Unpopular T-shirts because it's just a bunch of shirts that I wanted to wear that I just kind of dreamed up, and I didn't think anybody else would. Otherwise, they would already exist. So I just made, some of them seem a little politically charged. They're not. But I can understand, like, Jesus loves Democrats. If you're a Republican, you think I'm saying Jesus picks the Democrats. If you're a Democrat, you're saying, wait, why does Jesus have to love us and not them? Like, why do we? So, yeah, it's just a bunch of shirts I wanted to wear, and they didn't exist yet. So I made them, and surprisingly, people want to wear them. So we've been selling a few of them.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do our listeners and watchers find those T-shirts? Like, what's the best way to do that?
Just unpopulartshirt.com.
Okay. And just follow up on that. Who does the artwork? Like, how do you get the artwork on the shirt? Is it you doing it? Is it your wife doing it? Are you getting it mocked up somewhere? Like, what's with the shirts? How are you getting that made? Is it you doing it?
This one that I'm wearing, this is the single most graphic victory I've ever had in my life. This took me about probably 12 hours. But I do it all on my own. My sister is really good at this, and she's just starting to help me. So it's about to get better because she actually knows what she's doing. But yeah, it's all been me so far, and it's been it shows.
The family business. I love it. It's great.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
great.
I do need to ask about a couple of things that I also picked up on from my binge of your podcast yesterday. Okay, and again, I know it was a huge sacrifice on my part, Dustin.
Check on Spencer. If you're Spencer's neighbor, just bring him some cookies, maybe some warm milk.
I don't know if I'm gonna make it. I love that you have epiphanies. Okay, so what is your latest epiphany in life?
So I had this thought. This might be this might be a little deeper than
I love it.
you
Let's
told me
go.
I could take this anywhere. Here we go.
Yes, we can.
I was thinking about science, which if you've seen any of my content, you're like, no, you were not thinking about science. But I was thinking about how basically we're just looking at the world around us and trying to figure out what it's made of and how it works and why is the sun there and is the world flat or round? We solved that problem, and then it turns out maybe we didn't solve that problem because some people aren't real sure about that yet. But we are it's like if you took a bunch of babies and just left them in a house, and then when they grow up, they're trying to figure out what the house is. We don't know anything is the point. Like, it's not like they just handed us the plans for the earth and said, this is how it all works. We just keep figuring out penicillin, and then penicillin doesn't work anymore. You got to make something up. The whole thing is a work in progress. So the inspirational part of that is when you become an adult, you find out that none of the adults ever knew anything, and it's freeing. So you don't have to know anything. Just do your best. and then the next adults will clean up the mess that you made.
It's a trial and error society. That's what it is.
Yes.
Trial and error. Someone's going to
Emphasis
figure it
on
out
the error.
eventually. Error, much more on the error. Sometimes that's how it works, but eventually someone's going to get it right, and then we'll move on to the next problem. I love it. That's a great epiphany. I love to hear that. So, on this podcast, we do like to chat a little bit about, moments that have changed your life. I'm curious, Dustin, I want to hear about a moment that may have changed your life, either professionally, maybe not professionally, family wise, and what that story was and how that made you get to the path where you are today.
Like common origin story. It's like the Batman origin story. But as a man, I think when your dad passes, the safety net's gone. And then now it's big boy time. And I mean, from a parenting standpoint, from a professional standpoint, and there's a lot of sadness, obviously, that goes along with that. It's actually absolutely devastating. And then also there's this, like, all right, here we go. You're at the starting line of something entirely new. Where are you going to go? And I'm somebody who waits for things. I overanalyze, I think too much, and I don't do so much. Like, I wanted to do stand-up a full decade before I ever went to my first open mic. So I think the universe knows that I need some nudges, and sometimes some pretty big ones, to get up and start running and take some risks. And there have been a bunch of those, but that's for sure the biggest one.
I appreciate you opening up about that and being vulnerable. And on a certain level, I can relate because my family, I'm one of 7 children. My dad passed away from cancer in 2019. And I can't believe that, we're already past 6 years and the void is still very much there. And he was my hype man. And I'm sure that your dad in some capacity was that for you. But to go a little deeper in this, if you don't mind, because I was thinking about the thing that I miss the most is probably the ability just to make a quick phone call and just talk to him for 2 minutes. And he would just naturally hype me up, but I'll catch myself wanting to do that after a game or a moment, something I want to share with him. And I'm like, I can't do that anymore. But it has also trained me to think back on all of the memories in the memory bank that I do have with him. And while there is some sadness, it has also been a conduit to, gosh, my dad was awesome. And I have so many things to pull from. So how have you been able to push through that, and kind of traverse a situation that's hard to explain to somebody that hasn't had to say goodbye to their father or to their mother or to one of their parents?
Well, I'm really fortunate because my dad, although he passed earlier than most, he lived at 100 miles an hour. Like, I've got a full lifetime of memories with him, and there are times that I still I get bummed out sometimes where I'm like, oh, he's never met my dog. He never rode in my truck, like things that would have been important to him. He never saw me do stand up, those kinds of things. But his voice is still, it's right here in the back. Like it's like he's riding along too. And it makes me turn now to my kids and think, man, nothing's promised. I don't know. Hopefully tomorrow everything will be fine, but you want to give your kids the same thing that you were given, which in my case is difficult because a mountain of a man that is really hard to live up to, but trying to maximize the time and the lessons that I get with my kids.
How is, being a comedian takes a certain level of faith to be able to get into. And I'm curious of how faith has played a role in your life, both professionally and your home life, to make you get to where you're at today and to have the belief that you could be funny in front of people. Like, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, for some of us, it takes more faith, I think, than others because all of the outward indicators are not there yet. You have a really bad show, and on the drive home, you're like, man, yeah, how much faith do I actually have in all of this side of things? Yeah, but it's just, I mean, I've got a daughter that runs. She's in high school. She runs track very passionately. Uh, Trains, works her tail off, and has good races and bad races. And so I get to tell her sometimes, "Hey, it wasn't your day today. Next time it might be." And next time she usually goes out and smokes everybody. I mean, she's fast. Um, and the faith of, it's not it's if your faith is that things are going to work out every single time, then it's probably misplaced. But if it's trusting in the process and you feel like you're becoming something that is beneficial, so I'm kind of on this kick that happiness is no longer the goal. I'm not, my happiness is not. It's almost none of my business. It's I want to be useful and helpful and beneficial, and the happiness comes along with that. So if you've got faith that you're becoming something that will be helpful, beneficial, then you can handle the bumps.
Fantastic stuff with Dustin Anderson on From the Logo. We'll finish with a few quick hitters, Dustin, as we transition now back to maybe a little bit more of what lies ahead for you and looking at what has brought you success in the recent past. And by that, I mean specifically, what if you had like one or two things on social media, whether it's a comedic rant or a certain video, what things have been your biggest hitters and why do you think they landed so strongly for your viewers and listeners?
One of the first big ones, I did a thing about Taylor Swift, which went off for all the wrong reasons. And I attracted a whole bunch of people who thought I was a Swiftie. And then a couple videos later, they all left again. It was really weird. But the first thing I ever did that ever went kind of viral was, we talked about people being really sensitive. I did a thing about insensitivity training a few years ago, where at work, if you're too sensitive, they're going to make you go watch Blazing Saddles and say mean things about your mom and try to toughen you up a little bit and then send you back out to the workforce. That one resonated. That one, and again, I don't know if we attracted all the right people on that one either, but those ones seem to have stuck around.
What about, you spend a lot of time discussing hamsters on your podcast, right? So what's the focus on hamsters?
We've got, it's either 7 or 8 hamsters in our cemetery out there now. It used to be a garden.
Wow.
We had to get rid of all of our plants to bury hamsters and fish and hermit crabs and some chickens. Yeah, we're really bad at taking care of hamsters, but we love buying them. So we just keep doing it. I got daughters who love animals, and I think the record is it's either 5 or 6 days is the shortest hamster stay that we've had.
Wow.
That's
funny.
This is probably the appropriate way to close this thing out, Dustin. it's with that story. But I do want to give you an opportunity to address our watchers and listeners, just maybe with a tidbit of your wisdom. And you've shared a lot of it today, but what's your final message to the From the Logo audience about being on with Jimmer and what lies ahead for you?
I've got to, as I'm making videos and people see this behind me, usually there's only one thing in front of me. It's a little handwritten note that I glued to the wall that says, "Don't be boring." So, I mean, Jimmer Fredette's career is not boring. The style of play is not boring. In fact, Jimmer, I don't know if anybody's addressed this with you. Did you ruin basketball? Everybody's shooting threes. Everybody wants to shoot from 40 feet away. I know Steph Curry did that. I think that you were first. I don't know where you got that crazy idea, and it actually worked is the problem. So then we get these 11-year-olds that try it, and they just can't throw that far. But the way that you play was anything but boring. And you don't have to be Jimmer Fredette. You don't have to know how to dribble a basketball. You don't have to be a comedian. But whatever you do, you can do a version of it that's not boring, and it makes the world a better place.
That is awesome. I love that slogan. I need to start using that. I need to start using that with my kids and the people that I know, because that is so true. And I definitely try not to play boring, right? Like the first time that I shot a shot from as far as I did in high school, and my coach was like, "What are you doing? Like, why are you shooting?"
Did it go in?
From Of course it did. Of course it went in. And then he was like, all right, we're good. We'll be fine. We'll figure that out. But yeah, that's a great slogan and model to live by. I love that. Well, man, we appreciate the time, Dustin. This has been so fun.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. This has been awesome. You guys are doing great. I'm excited to watch your podcast continue to grow. I look back at the guests you've had on, and one of these things is not like the others. You got all these legends lined up, and then I'm surprised at how early you dropped off down to this level. But hopefully things pick up for you guys again. I think you're going to do great.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
Final shout out to Jennifer Aniston, to Tiffany Amber Thiessen. We're absolutely going to tag her in this, and we're going to do our part to try and get her to follow you, Dustin. But we appreciate the time, my friend. Keep up the great work, and a sincere congratulations from all of us on From the Logo to you on what you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right, let's call time out. When we return, Jimmer and I take on more of our listener-submitted questions where everybody takes their shot in open gym. This is From the Logo. This episode of From the Logo is sponsored by Primo Golf, founded in 2020 by a family in Utah that believes golfers are athletes too. And you know what? Golfers absolutely are. Use the code FROMTHELOGO, all one word, for 15% off your purchase at primogolfapparel.com. That's primogolfapparel.com. Shoot your shot. From the Logo rolls on. We now open things up to our listeners and viewers with your submitted questions from social media straight to Jimmer and me. We call it Open Gym. Everybody taking their shot. Jimmer, start us off with the first submitted question.
Yes, I get to ask a question to you this time, which I'm
Okay.
excited about. So we have at WAFUS101, WAFUS 101 maybe, on YouTube, and it says for Spencer. When and how did you know that you wanted to get into broadcasting, and where did your love of sports come from?
Fantastic question. Super appreciate it. I'll start with the love of sports. That deals with a family that encouraged me to get involved in any and everything when I was a kid: soccer, baseball, football, basketball, golf. I did everything. And I had an older brother, Trevor, who helped me build the competitive edge, much like TJ probably did for you, Jimmer.
Oh, yeah.
The
Oh, yeah.
older brothers play a vital role in this. So he loved sports. It was fun to watch him do his thing, playing basketball in the AAU circuit with Bountiful Junior High School when I was just a young elementary kid, and then dreams of, being a letter winner, high school basketball and beyond. And so that's kind of where the initial love came from, was just growing up in an environment where it was competition, and it was being outside and playing with your friends and dominating at recess. And that's where it was honed for sure. And frankly, my mom, Christine, like my dad, Kent, both sports fans, but my mom, Christine, was the one who was a diehard, like, we got to watch all the games. We got to pay attention to March Madness. We got to watch BYU football. Like that helped cultivate my love of sports. And watching the news with my dad every night, watching a segment called Sports Beat on KSL, it's the NBC affiliate in Salt Lake City, and seeing my guy Craig Bowler-Jack interview Karl Malone and John Stockton, and thinking, wow, this is pretty freaking cool that those guys are at the professional level, and the Jazz are good, and this guy on TV gets to talk to them. I sat in his chair on set in Salt Lake City on a 4th grade field trip for something called Quarters for Christmas, while we were raising money for shoes and presents for kids that didn't have much. And we got to drop off all the money that we had raised for my elementary school. I was on the student government or student council as a 4th grader, and they let us say our names on live radio. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever. My dad was like, now make sure you enunciate your T, Spencer. It's not Linton. It's not Linton. It's Linton. Like, okay, fine. So got to say that on the air, and was super excited to get home. And they let me sit in the chair where Craig Bowler-Jack, who is still the voice of the Utah Jazz, he's one of the greats, where he did the nightly sportscast. And when I sat in that chair on that set, I thought, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. And I went home and told my parents, says, 10-year-old kid. I just turned 10 like a week earlier. And I said, I want to be a sportscaster when I grow up. And the dream was set early. And I still have a picture of that field trip and the day I went and sitting on the set next to one of my best friends, Corey Yoshimura, rest in peace. And yeah, that's a near and dear memory for me and for the trajectory of my professional career. So that is where it all began.
Oh, that's awesome.
I could spend a long time talking about it, but that is
Yeah.
the summary of that story.
That's so cool. That's so cool. And now you're here.
Now we're here. Now you have invited me to talk with you on a weekly basis, and I'm still
That's
trying to
right.
figure out what you were thinking.
Yeah, no, I don't know yet. We're still figuring it out.
Hey, next question for you, Jimmer. On the final of these two comes from @WindDriverDude. He says, "How were you treated in the NBA, and were you given a fair chance to prove yourself?"
Yeah, I get this question a lot. The NBA is all about timing and situation, right? That's what it is for probably like 90% of the league. That's the way it is. There's 10% of the leagues that are superstars, and they are going to be able to play at the highest level no matter where they are, just because they're that good, they're that athletic, they're highly touted, they're coming in, they're getting their shots, pretty much no matter what. And then the rest of the guys are kind of just fighting for these other role positions. And, it's all about the time and the situation. Does your coach like you? Does your GM like you? Do your teammates, do they fit together collectively? Do you fit within that group and that team, right? And for me, I just wasn't able to kind of find that right spot, right? There were different times in my career where I played super well and had great games and great stretches of seasons, and there's other times where I wasn't playing very much, and it was just, whether a new guy came in and they wanted to try that person out, or a new coach came in and had a whole different philosophy. Regardless, this is how it worked, and so grateful for the opportunity.
Great stuff. We appreciate the always interesting submitted questions. Send in more. We have so many more comments that we're going to get to in our next episode as well. Trust me, even if we don't get to them in this episode, we carry them over and we address the things that you submit. We love the interaction, the engagement from all of you. Let's call our final timeout. The 3x3 update is next. Jimmer gives us the latest on the drive to gold in 3x3 basketball when From the Logo continues, presented by Primo Golf.
All right, guys, we are so excited to celebrate 5 years of Primo.
If you or your business are looking to reach a wide audience, From the Logo with Jimmer Fredette will help you reach your goals. Whether you're interested in title sponsorship, segment sponsorship, or product placement on the podcast, email us at jimmerftl@gmail.com and let us help you shoot your shot.
This is From the Logo. We move into the final quarter. It is time for our USA Basketball 3x3 update. GM Jimmer ready to do his thing once again. He's got the latest on the drive to the gold medal in Los Angeles from his 3x3 teams across the globe, plus maybe an interesting insight into a rule of the game or aspect of the game. Jimmer, where are you taking the conversation today?
Yeah, no, quickly, the first thing is our guys are going to be in Manama, which is over somewhere in the Middle East area of the world, and they are playing in the World Tour final. So they're in the final. They're excited about it. It's going to be a great opportunity for them to play against the top 12 teams in the world from this year's season. They're ranked number 2 going into it. They've had a great year, so I'm excited to see how they do. Good luck to Team Miami. We're going to talk a little bit about, just quickly, the scoring system and playing to 21 versus 10 minutes, right? So not everyone knows that you play 3x3 basketball. They either, whatever comes first, it's the first team to score 21 points wins, or if you don't get to 21 points, it's whoever is winning after 10 minutes. So you have a clock, right? You have an actual clock that you're up against. So if you don't get to that 21 mark, you're getting to, maybe 17 or 18, and you have to be up during that time period. So that is really important to understand the timing, the clock, the situation. When I was there, we scored 21 generally most of the time, but you would have games that are grinded out games. If the sun is bad, if the wind is, all of a sudden you're not shooting well, whatever it is, you'll have those times where you won't get to 21. So that's what it is. But the scoring is super important because that matters for you getting into pool play, right? So, and then tournament play. So if they count your points that you make, the baskets that you make, and then they rank you because there's pools of 3 in each of these tournaments. And if you're all 1, 1, and 1, it'll go to the actual the points that you scored first. So you're trying to score points in these games no matter what. So you'll see a team, even if they're up 17-19 and there's 3 seconds left, that team that has 19 is still going to shoot the ball and try to get to 21 or get to as many points as they can. Because if they don't, and then someone scores 21 in another game, it could knock them out if they're in a situation. So you need to always continue to shoot baskets and make points, because if you don't, you could get knocked out. So that is a huge key emphasis that we always tell our guys. Make sure you score as much as you possibly can, because it matters going into that next round. So it's all about where you're seated. So I love it because I'm always trying to score anyway. So I just keep doing what I'm doing. That's all I got for you today, though.
A reminder to shoot your shot in life. Indeed. We'll be back and talk with all of you next time.